Okay, start out with some injury updates. Mingo had a concussion. Woods had a hamstring. Xavier Woods had a hamstring. Frankie Lulu had a hip pointer, and C.J. Anderson had an ankle. All right, tough loss. Coming in, we knew the environment would be tough. Good football team and a tough place to play. We emphasize, the number of penalties was totally inexcusable, pathetic. We talked in there. I would just say this as a general statement. First of all, what we said in there was, and I mean every ounce of it, I have a very strong belief in our team and our players. I have a very strong belief in our coaches, and I know we can be a good football team if we don't beat ourselves. That being said, what we did, the number of penalties that we had on offense was pathetic. And, that starts with me as an offensive coach. That starts with our offensive coaches, getting our players ready. And that starts with our players. That's unacceptable. I mean, it's like we never played in the noise before. We knew it was coming. We practiced all week with noise. I mean, Wednesday it was so loud out there you couldn't even think. But as coaches and as players together, and I mean that together, as coaches and as players, if you have that many self-inflicted things, it's hard to overcome those. And so we got to learn from that for sure. Defensively, felt like we held them in the first half, no touchdowns. They hit some runs on us late. Listen, I said to the defense, I know we put the defense in a hard position. We put the defense in a hard position, with the slow starts on offense, and it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. And then what happens is sometimes later in the game, that mounts up, and then, you get a little crack. And, but we got to stand strong. And, as players and coaches on defense, and, we got it to one score. We got it to 2 points or within a one-score game. They're in the fourth quarter, and then they drove down and scored. And we needed to stop right there. We needed to stop, and we didn't get it. So I do know this. I do know in this locker room there's two things that are going to happen. One, there's belief. And number two, there will be no finger pointing. That's not going to happen. We're each going to own our mistakes, man up to our mistakes. We understand that the mistakes are collective, coaches and players together, got to get better. And but we each individually have to look at our specific area in a way that we can individually get better as well. So I'll open it up from there.
Frank, 4 of those false starts were called on Icky. Anything in particular you think he needs to improve or that you said to him?
That's what we have to figure out. We have to figure out, Icky has to look at it himself. We have to look at it like, what can we do to help him in those situations? That's the process you go through. Like I said, I just had not experienced it like that before. We have to be able to change plays. On the road, the quarterback has to be able to change plays. That's going to happen. So we talked about keeping our poise, and we didn't do that.
58 pass attempts for Dawson. I'm sure that's not.
Yeah, you don't come into Seattle and throw it 58 times and win very many games. So that was not the formula that we wanted. The run game was non-existent, and so we got to continue to work on that. I did think that Andy handled the pass game pretty well. I think he handled the pass game pretty well, made a lot of good throws. We made some plays in the pass game. I thought given 58 attempts and here, there were times the protection broke down, but it wasn't horrible. Like it was, I have to look at the tape, but, in many ways I thought Andy was pretty solid. I thought Andy did a lot of good things today.
Frank, after you guys ran so well in Atlanta in the opener, it hasn't been as much of a factor. Why is that after?
Yeah, it's just surprising to me. It really is surprising to me. It's surprising to me. So we know for us to be the offense and the team we want to be, we need to have more balance in the offense, and so we have to continue to work on that.
I know you said Bryce will be the starter when he's healthy, but with the way the line's playing right now, are you worried about putting him back in there?
No, not at all. I don't know, like, when Wednesday, I promise you, it was louder Wednesday at practice than it was out there today. And we never really turned it down. When they were in the huddle, we had it loud. It was loud at the line of scrimmage. And I don't remember us having a false start on Wednesday, you know. And then on Thursday and Friday, we still used the noise. It wasn't quite as loud because, honestly, you know, Andy was really hoarse after Wednesday just from screaming the whole day. And so we had to manage it just a little bit so that he didn't lose his voice. So we gotta figure that one out.
Would
Yeah.
you say you're in damage control right now a little bit, or how would you describe it?
No, this is, you know, no, I mean, listen, this game was, we're in the fourth quarter, and it's I think it's a 2-point game at one point in the fourth quarter, or I don't know. It was within one score. And in spite of all those penalties, we got it to a point where we make a stop. If we make a stop and then follow up with the score, we can win that game. We're in the fourth quarter, and that game is winnable if we can put it together in all three phases. Just for one quarter, we're in the fourth quarter, and if we can put it together, we can win that game. And then it got away from us.
Do you worry a little bit, Frank, though, about your message, you know, being well received in there when you're not seeing the outcomes that you want?
No, those guys are pros. I don't. You know, listen, we're 3 games into this. Everybody understands. The kind of guys we got in there, I believe everybody takes ownership. Everybody understands it's a long season. And there's no guarantees of anything. We know we can be a good team. You know, I've been 1-5 and won playoff games. But here's what I know. When you're in a situation like that where you're 0-3 or 1-5 or something like that, and you're behind the 8 ball and you say, well, can you still make the playoffs? Absolutely. But the way you do it is not thinking about that. All you worry about is the next team. So really, that's right now all we do is go back, look at this film, and then get focused on the Minnesota Vikings. And it's 1 week at a time and keep getting better. And I do think there are some areas we got better. You know, we made some plays in the pass game. DJ flashed making a few plays down the field. There were more positive things. You know, third down conversion was better. That was progress. Defense, you know, in the first half, like again, no touchdowns. You know, in some pretty difficult situations that we put them in. So there's still plenty of positives to build on, and I think we all know that. And I don't think anybody feels like we've been outmanned in any game. It's not, you know, like we just have beat ourselves. So just got to continue to get better.
We'll take a couple more.
Of all the injuries that you mentioned, any of immediate concern coming out of this?
Just kind of got to wait and see how it all, you know, 24 hours later, see, you know, with Mingo going through the protocol, you know, you just have to wait and see, you know, what that looks like. Xavier, I'm not sure that the severity or the degree of his hamstring. So, and then Frankie's hip pointer, you know, those things, they vary in degree. You know, so it's kind of wait and see how that. And then same thing with CJ's ankle. I haven't heard how severe that is yet. So we'll find out in the next 24, 48 hours.
Frank, along those lines, how concerned are you about simply the fatigue for guys like Derek, Brian, who are out there playing a lot of snaps when things have gotten away in the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're paid to do. You know, that's what we're paid to do. So, shoot, we you know, I mean, I'm assuming those guys like to, you know, and I'm not saying this like as a smart, shoot, these guys are paid to play football. We're paid to coach football. So let's go do it. If you want me to play 80 plays? Let's go. I'll sign up and play 80 plays. You want me to do that 17 weeks in a row? Yeah, that's what we do. That's our mentality. What does it take? Hey, what can I do to help this team win? Play more plays? Okay. And now we as coaches got to manage that. And is there wear and tear? And I think we do a pretty good job, you know, during the week managing, getting guys ready physically with how we practice, pull guys out. We manage reps during the week, knowing that certain guys are playing more. When a guy plays a lot of plays in the game, that next week in practice, we pull back on him to allow him to recover. So we don't just count the game reps. They mean a lot, but we look at the week worth of work, and we manage that load and try to make it manageable for each of the guys.
Right. This is the last one. To piggyback off of his question, you had a lot of injuries to key players and new staff, so many new faces here in the building. I know that you have to kind of change your game plan. To what degree have you guys had to just make so many changes just 3 weeks into the season?
There's been a number of changes, but like, of course, we're never going to look at it like, woe is me, right? I mean, new staff, a lot of injuries. My guess is everybody's dealing with the same thing we're dealing with. That's just what I assume, because I've dealt with this before. And so I got confidence in our roster, the depth that we have. And I think a lot of guys have stepped up. And yeah, it's a new coaching staff, and we're getting, and I feel like in some ways I feel like we're getting better in some ways as a staff, and as players, and in each unit. It wasn't good enough to win for the first 3 weeks, but we'll keep fighting and scratching. Thank you.